Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the PGA DFS Pick Show. I am your host, John McNutt, aka John Cool 19, here for Fantasy Sports Insight, talking the American Express. As always, this show, all the stats are powered by Fantasy National Golf Club. Big shout out to them. I love making models every week on their site, running ownership projections, etc. So definitely check them out if you are not already using them for all of your stats. Well, let's go ahead and jump into this week's PGA event. We are talking the American Express. Weird name, fun event. This is a Pro-Am event. So golfers will be playing on 3 different courses for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then on Sunday, all the golfers who make the 54-hole cut will be at the PGA West Stadium course for the final round. There will be no amateurs in the final round, but certainly the first 3 days will be very, very slow. We're talking 6+ hours per round for these golfers to be able to get through their respective course. Certainly a different feel to it. I'm absolutely factoring in players who have performed well here at American Express, as well as at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Has the exact same setup, multiple courses, as well as very, very slow golf, looking at golfers who've excelled at that. But quick chat about the courses. The 3 are all pretty similar. They're all par 72s. They're 7,100 to 7,200 yard courses, and they are listed as Bermuda grass greens, but really this time of year, the Bermuda is dormant. We are looking really more of a POA bent mix as far as greens go. They are very, very pure. They are light carpet and a bit slow as far as on that scale of how fast the greens are. One thing to consider this week is typically the greens here are very, very firm and dry. This is a desert type course, but with all the rains in California, certainly that could change just a little bit. If we're seeing a little bit softer greens, that means more birdies. And this event has about as many birdies as golfers will see all year long. So more birdies is absolutely a possibility. All 3 of these courses are some of the easiest on tour. The more difficult of the 3 is the PGA West Stadium course. The other 2 are about a shot per round easier. So if you're looking at showdown, certainly look at guys over at La Quinta or at the Nicholas Tournament course. All of these at PGA West. Some of the key stats I am looking at this week. Number 1 for me is ball striking. Maybe a little bit more focus on approach versus the off the tee numbers there. I'm including birdie or better high in my model. Like I mentioned, tons and tons of birdies at this course. I'm also comparing golfers who have scored well on easy scoring courses, those golfers who gain the most strokes at these easy events. With it being 3 courses, only 2 of them have the shot link data. So I'm leaning a bit more on things like form, similar courses, things of that nature, since we don't have all the data from La Quinta and Nicholas Tournament course. And that is half of the holes that the golfers will play this week. But being that all 3 are easy, I'm including that in the modeling. And then recent form is also heavy in my modeling as well. I want golfers who are coming in good form, playing good golf. Ideally, golfers who played at 1 or both of the last couple of weeks, if you're looking for a winner. As far as kind of some other comp courses, I mentioned Pebble Beach being one of the my top comp course. I'm also looking at TPC Scottsdale. That is another desert course. TPC Summerlin and TPC Sawgrass all are in my model as far as comp courses go this week. Let's go ahead and jump into my favorite golfers that I'm going to be playing in my DraftKings lineups. Starting at the top here, that is Scottie Scheffler. He's not the most expensive on DraftKings, but at 10,500, certainly will be the number 1 guy and probably your only 10K guy if you put him into your lineup. He is 10-1 odds to outright win this event. I certainly like that number. Looking at the projected ownership too, he might be the lowest owned golfer of all of those in the 10K range. I love that about Scottie Scheffler this week. He is an absolute elite ball striker. I have him ranked 4th in this field in the last 36 rounds ball striking. He's also top 10 approach and around the greens. He ranks 12th in opportunities gained also, so everything checks the boxes there. Top 10 birdie or better on easy courses. I mentioned that as a top stat this week. He also rates very well on par 3s, and the par 3s here can be more difficult. So certainly golfers who are able to score there also get a leg up on everyone making birdies on those par 4s and 5s, making birdie on par 3. A little bit more difficult this week, so I factored that in there. If we're looking at form here for Scotty Scheffler, his last 10 events, he has missed the cut twice, but he has 5 top 10s. He did play at the Century Tournament of Champions, finished 7th, and he has played this event 4 times, making 3 cuts, and he was 3rd place and an 18th place, as well as 25th place in those 3 years. So good course history also. And the next golfer I'll talk about here also finished 7th place at the Century Tournament of Champions. That is our boy Tony Finau, who is in absolutely insane form right now. I've got him at 10,200 on DraftKings, 12-1 outright. I love that number also for Tony. You probably can't bet both these guys, but picking one or the other on your outright card, I think, is a very good idea if you're playing a stud up at the top. Tony Finau's last 10 events, he only has 1 missed cut. He has 3 wins over those last 10 events and 3 more top 10s, including that 7th place at Century a couple weeks ago. So great form for Tony Finau. He has made the cut at this event 4 out of 5 times, 40th last year, and then prior to that, he was 14th, and he has a top 5 finish in the last 5 years also. So he has played this course well. But I'm looking at Tony. He is top 5 when it comes to making birdies on easy scoring courses. He's also number 1 in this field of ball striking, number 1 par 4 scoring, and he's 4th on approach the last 36 rounds. So the stats love Tony Finau. He is number 1 in my model, probably going to be one of my higher owned golfers on DraftKings this week. And certainly, again, worth an outright look. But if you want to jam him in your lineup, probably need some values. And I am jumping back on Ben Griffin. I mentioned him on this slide last week. He was basically the exact same price. No, he was 7,300. So his price dropped 100 and he finished 12th place. Absolutely excellent for a golfer at this price point on DraftKings. His form has been very good. He's made 8 out of his last 9 cuts. 5 of those were top 25 finishes. Excellent for a golfer priced in this range. The course history, none to talk about. This will be his first time at the Amex. But when it comes to stats, he's 25th ball striking, 13th on approach, and he also ranks 6th when it comes to par 4 scoring. So look at Ben Griffin if you want to sneak him in. I think he'll be pretty high owned in that range at 7,200. Maybe a couple other golfers down there that will also be playing well this week in that range, that are guys that I like at that price. David Lipsky comes to mind. He was 4th last week at the Sony, and he has made 8 of his last 10 cuts. So certainly take a look at him this week. For this week's low-owned pivot plays, I am starting back where I started last week, and that is Siwoo Kim. The price has gone up on Siwoo this week. The ownership might be up just a little bit, but honestly, within his price range, I'm seeing him at about 11%. That is going to be lower than Cam Young and Brian Harman. I have him ranked higher than both of those golfers in my model, and why not? Coming off the big win last week as a low-owned pivot for me, I'm going to go right back to Siwoo Kim, and traditionally on DraftKings, golfers who win an event and come back and play the very next week, they don't typically get all that much ownership unless it's like a Jon Rahm or Scotty Scheffler. Somebody like a Siwoo Kim, I could see people absolutely bailing on him since he did win last week. Doesn't make a ton of sense logically, but I am going to probably play him in quite a few lineups, get some leverage on the field. My last 2 pivot plays last week were Matt Kuchar and Brendan Todd. They finished 7th and 21st. Also, this section has been hot lately. I am going to try and keep that ball rolling here with Wyndham Clark. He's 8,100 on DraftKings. He's going to be pretty low at like 6% or so on DraftKings is my projected ownership. Now, I have him ranked 22nd in my model. He's an excellent driver, very good tee to green, and I'm thinking maybe half the ownership of Adam Hadwin and K.H. Lee and Tom Hoge in that range. All will be very popular golfers. Give me some Wyndham Clark as a good leverage play there. And then I'm going kind of back up to the top, and that's Sam Burns at 9,400. I'm looking at him at about 7% ownership. Sam Burns is an excellent golfer. He can be streaky at times, unpredictable, yes, but for him to come in half the ownership of Brian Harman or Tom Kim, I think is absolutely a mistake. Give me much better. I would much rather have the ownership here of Sam Burns versus those other golfers. He's made 2 out of 3 cuts at this event. He was 18th back in 2019 and then 6th in 2020, and he can make a ton of birdies on easy courses. So I like Sam Burns quite a bit this week, probably GPP only for me. I would say him and Siwoo both GPP only based on volatility, but they can absolutely win you DraftKings lineups like Siwoo did for us last week. All right, so last slide here. This is one and done, again, powered by Fantasy National Golf Club. This is the Pat Mayo Open, so we are trying to win the big prize this year. TK last week had Tom Kim. Unfortunately, a lot of people had Tom Kim, missed the cut, so he got $0. I ended up rolling Brian Harmon at first, and last second, I decided to switch it up and go Corey Connors. That won me a few extra dollars there. He had I think a T12 last week, so I'll take it. That puts me 117th after 1 week. Long season, so that's pretty meaningless at this point, but I am happy to get off to a good start here with a little cash in the pocket. TK is undecided on his pick as of this moment. He's got some family things going on, so hopefully he will be able to return next week. And I will be taking Tom Hoagie in my one and done. Very excited about his course history and form. I think he is an excellent option for your one and done lineups this week. So that will do it for this week's show. Appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them here on the YouTube page. I'll try and answer them as they come in. As far as core lineups, weather, and ownership projections, all of that will be in our Discord. That can be found at the FSI page, fsidfs.com. You can also go through the Twitter handle at FSI_DFS. Jump into the Discord. We'll be sharing everything that we have leading up to lock, including our core plays come Wednesday evening, ownership projections, so that we can really get off of the bad chalk, try and find golfers that give us more leverage, like Siwoo did last week. So thank you very much. I hope you do well this week, and certainly join us in the Discord as the week goes on. Good luck.